Alright, big dog, it's time to channel in our inner Joey Wheelers. My brokies, I need to know, what are your deepest, darkest fears and your worst nightmare? Mine is paying a full amount instead of the past due. What's going on with ya, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day, phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Since the food stamps ain't coming in anytime soon, I thought that all of us brokies should pull in and figure out what are the top 5 budget decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. Not only will I be breaking down the best competitive budget decks available, I'll take into consideration some really important things to help you on your Yu-Gi-Oh! Journey. One is this longevity, because it needs to last way longer than me in bed.
My guy, this is a golf course. I'm trying to take strokes off to accomplish my goal, if you know what I mean.
The second thing is I actually want to avoid the decks that are getting cheap because of the ban list. That Castira deck look real cheap right now, but that's the trap they try to get you into. And the third is the most important thing about this video is the deck's budget. I'm your friendly neighborhood drug dealer. I got decks on here where you can build the core for about $20, and I got decks where you can build the entire deck for $150. Pick your budget, brokey. And of course, big dog, I'll be putting personalized deck lists on my Patreon as a special thank you for helping me pay my editors. Without further ado, let's jump on in. So we're not 100% sure when the ban list will come out, but that should play a huge part of what you should invest into when it comes into this Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. No one wants to buy a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck and then a couple of weeks later find out they can't even use it. On the flip side, because of the reprints that are coming out later on this year, there's actually some perfect opportunities to pick up some decks that I know for a fact will still be really strong after the ban list. One of them is Labyrinth.
My guy, this is a trap that I think you want to fall into.
Because of the Battles of Legends set and the upcoming Megatins, the Labyrinth cards have actually plummeted to be very respectable cards that you can pick up for fairly cheap. Labyrinth has also been one of the most powerful decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! But there's a big reason why I think that this is a safe pickup as opposed to some of the other strategies, and why I don't think it won't be hit to oblivion in the future. Labyrinth is actually getting future support in Age of Overlord, and that makes the deck so much better. Of course, there are cards on the chopping block that Konami should consider, like Eradicator Epidemic Virus, but that doesn't necessarily hurt Labyrinth. It actually could help them. And without the risk of me being banned by Konami, I can also guarantee you that the Labyrinth cards are being reprinted inside of the Megatins, which should make the deck even cheaper than what it is. My guy, the best bet for you is just to wait for the content creator uploads. They'll confirm it for me. But let's say we ain't trying to wait for that long. I mean, it's a little bit further out for the first of the month, and we gonna have to make our deck match the noodles that we eat. I actually think that a really powerful budget deck right now that can compete with some of the top decks in the game is Ninjas. They back in style, my boy. Now, it seemed like Leon's rap basketball career, or whatever he did to get him off of welfare, is finally paying off. And I respect that he didn't forget where he came from, despite his father leaving him for cigarettes and milk. I have to say, Leon's a real ninja. Come on, guys, I can't get fired again. It's really unfair. I just got this job back. Ironically, right now, ninjas have no business being as powerful and as cheap as they are. This is a deck that is easily the cheapest out of all the decks that I'm going to talk to you about, and the most effective for the money that you're spending. In other words, you would be really hard pressed to find a cheaper deck that can yield similar results. The main reason is because cards like Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse are really powerful right now, and ninjas love those. Players have really taken priority to flipping monsters face down, so your opponent can't use them for particular summons, but ninjas can summon some of their strongest cards from the extra deck regardless if the ninja is face up and face down. On top of that, the ninja strategy actually benefits from monsters being face down. Now, on the flip side to ninjas being so cheap, there is a downside to building this ninja deck. It does have a shorter lifespan than some of the other strategies that I talked about here, but the benefit is that ninjas seem like a strategy that can come in and out. Anytime cards like Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse are really powerful, flipping your opponent's monsters face down, the ninjas can be a really solid deck, like it was when Photon Hypernova came out. Now, for you people that may be looking to the bougie budget, basically those hometown buffet visits that you got to do every once in a while, I think that this deck is pretty much the king of budget. I mean, who am I kidding? I would say that Unchained is the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck right now. Now, big dog, you could say that it's a little bit of my copium, but this deck got that dog in it. Quite literally. The reason why I think Unchained is so good is because most hand traps in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game just don't work on this deck effectively. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It just has way too many outs and way too many situations where the hand traps don't trade as well. It's a deck that is really good against cards like Droll and Lockbird since it doesn't search as much. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is only a singular point of interruption. I guess the only thing we gotta wait out for is Le Rock. But the bright side to that is because decks like Pearly, people aren't playing Nibiru as much. Now, one thing that I would say about Unchained is that it is on a little more of the expensive side of budget decks, but this is one of the best decks in the entire game. And when you pick up this deck, you're easily playing a top contender Yu-Gi-Oh deck, at least in the hard right here. Also, I just so happen to have uploaded the budget version of this deck on my Patreon today. If you're starting with absolutely nothing, this deck is $150, which is really cheap for a budget Yu-Gi-Oh deck that is one of the best decks in the game. To prove that this deck is so powerful, I even built and played the deck online against a World Championship qualifier in 2024. Bro, it's not even 2024 and he already is going to Nationals. It's crazy. And you can see the results in that particular game in this video, as well as a skeleton build that you can mess around with yourself. Now, there is a slight drawback to Unchained. I don't necessarily see the deck getting any more direct support, but players have already been experimenting with Labyrinth and Unchained have been really successful. You can see the future Labyrinth support as the new Unchained support too, or a mix or variation of those particular decks that could still be really powerful. But speaking of future support, one deck that I know is getting future support and is ironically budget is Rescue Ace. I'm in danger! It's actually quite dangerous for some of the better decks in Yu-Gi-Oh to be so budget. I remember when Rescue Ace Hydric was a $7 Yu-Gi-Oh card.
That's right, Sonny. I remember the good old days. Jinzo was an amazing Yu-Gi-Oh card, and Guardian Chimera was $7. This nigga's spitting.
Unfortunately, if you didn't hop on the Rescue Ace Fire Engine then, the card ballooned to $50, but right now it's down to about $25 a copy. My guy. I personally think that the price decrease is due to players not necessarily understanding how Rescue Ace plays and also not grasping the full concept of being able to summon a Fire Engine and pass. In other words, this deck is actually a lot harder to play than it looks, but it's so rewarding, especially since it has new support coming out in the future. The Diablo Star, Snake Eyes cards that are coming out in Age of Overlord are actually extremely helpful. Being able to special summon a level 1 fire monster from your deck? Huh? I know one thing that dogs and humans all have in common. It's the love for the fire hydrant, my friend. And the new Diablo Star engine not only adds another wrinkle to the strategy, it makes it a lot more consistent and powerful. Rescue Ace also has pretty much a 0% chance of being hit on the Forbidden List and only can stand to get stronger from it. This is a strategy that only stands to become stronger. We already know those deck build sets get future support. I'm just waiting for that Rescue Ace fire hose because I already got one right here.
Hey, don't be mad, be glad.
In actuality, the girls call me Thunder Thimble for a reason. And lastly, if you have not seen the video before, I strongly recommend you check this out. Chef Cali always stay cooking, and this time I cooked in the kitchen with a $100 Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It's actually crazy how I built an entire deck, mainboard, extra deck, and sideboard included in just $100, especially in today's economy, and that's why you should strongly consider playing Altergeist if you're on that type of a budget. Altergeist also pretty much has no chance of being hit on the Forbidden List. I think it's an excellent option if you want to pick up a deck that's really cheap, and the best part about it, it's not the Altergeist monsters or cards that got you to the $100, it's those staple Yu-Gi-Oh cards that you can actually use to transfer over to some of those other decks. That's right, big dog. So while you're playing popular cards like Ash Blossom, Droll, Evenly Matched, and Infinite Impermanence, if you decide to step away from Altergeist, you can take those same cards and transfer it over to another powerful strategy, since these are played in just about every single deck right now. But let's not sleep on Altergeist's potential. This is one of the only decks that can use Secret Village of the Spellcasters to lock out your opponent's important spells, as well as Anti-Spell Fragrance to take it a step further. So essentially, you have 6 copies of your opponent can't activate spell cards. Talk about that for an Eradicate. And the combos with Altergeist are actually pretty cool. It may seem like a trap deck at first, but in actuality, it's more of a combo deck that can take advantage of really powerful trap cards in the game. And that's all that I have for the top budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks under those particular stipulations. I think that there's some other crazy budget decks that you could be playing, and I want you guys to let me know down below in the comment section. And of course, as usual, I'll be covering over more budget decks in my budget tier list, so be sure to click on that video when it comes out. But until then, you can check out these, as I'll catch you on the next one.